So on the 3rd, obviously the anniversary, we usually have a service and a gathering and role play with people and to remember Madeleine. It's a difficult day, but I think for us it does mark another year, but I think it's harder actually on her birthday, which is just 9 days later, which is much more poignant because it's the day that we would normally celebrate Madeleine, and the fact that she's not with us on her special day is quite difficult.
So what do you do then at the anniversary? Also a service?
A birthday? No, I mean we always mark it some way, usually just as a family really, so you know what I do with the other children really, so we have decorations and she has a present and we have a cake, and it's usually quite a small personal thing really.
Okay. And how is your campaign doing? I suppose along the time it's lost a bit of momentum, but you've been trying to keep it going. What are you doing now?
Well, I actually think obviously since the Metropolitan Police Force have been helping, which is 3 years now, and obviously it went from a review to an investigation, I actually think that the momentum has gathered. They've certainly made a lot of progress. A lot of information has come to light and more information is being brought in by the public.
I think our campaign though was always about getting a meaningful investigation again, and sometimes you've got to look back to see how far you've progressed, but actually, you know, with an active investigation in the UK and an active investigation in Portugal, again, then I think we have made real progress, but what we would like to see is a joint investigation instead of 2 investigations running in parallel, because you know there's a lot of bureaucracy goes on and international letters of requests, which is a very tedious and time consuming, rather laborious process, and really if we had a joint investigation team with additional funding from the EU, I think it would just work a lot better, and then it would be police to police driving things. So for us, having the police investigating takes a huge amount of pressure off us, huge amount of.
But even though it's 7 years, I still find it hard when things take weeks or months to be carried out, or for an answer from a specific inquiry to come in. And I do believe that if the 2 countries were working together, that would be speeded up really.
The British police has been talking about their frustration with all the slow procedures and also the fact that things in Portugal don't always work the same way. How involved have you been in this process? I know you met, but also polícias judiciária in Portugal.
Yeah, so I mean most of our contact has been with the Metropolitan Police, and we have regular meetings. They're not necessarily that frequent, but they do keep us very much abreast of developments, which is great, because as the parents of a missing child, and I know Rui Pedro's mother has said this as well, it's the lack of information that is totally disabling. So that's been important from us. We have had one meeting last year with the PJ prior to the reopening of the case, and that was good, you know, because it was the first time in a very long time, and we were given assurances that they would work to try and solve the case, and that's what we want, and it's in our interest and Madeleine's interest, and I'm sure it's in the best interest of Portugal as well, that we get to the bottom of it.
You according to the PJ as well, you spoke about one of the lines of inquiry that Scotland Yard is pursuing, that is this loaner that goes into British families' holiday houses. Is this? I mean, Kate, you've written about something about it. Was this something that the private investigators have looked into, and you were very keen on finding out more?
Well, I think there were at least half a dozen of these cases which we knew about straight away. On the 4th of May, I heard about some of these cases, but at that point I was told it was felt to be irrelevant. Obviously, with our own private investigation, we uncovered more cases like this, and with the Met's recent appeal, even more have come in, so there's a significant number of cases now, all unsolved. obviously we don't know if this is one person, if it's a group of people, and in fact whether they're linked or not to each other or to Madeleine's case. But it's certainly something that needs to be investigated.
Obviously, the modus operandi of these attacks are very, very similar, so that supports it possibly being the same person. It's not necessarily, but we would really like to thank all those families who have come forward. First of all, because it's clearly been a very traumatic experience for them and their child or children. So that's been important. And at the minute, all the cases we know of are in British families, but there may be others. Now, probably it's been targeting holidaymakers, but there may be other families affected. I don't know if there are Portuguese families affected, but interesting for me has been when the police have gone with a very focused appeal. So first time it was about burglaries, second time it was about sexual assaults, and literally hundreds of holidaymakers have come forward. And obviously we would ask the Portuguese people who live in the Algarve as well, that if they have got any information around these lines of inquiry, to come forward as well. They may have ideas of who they suspect. You know, probably the people who live in and around these resorts probably know when, you know, something's not right.
Okay. How do you think a joint investigation would improve chances of the inquiry go forward?
I think that there's a number of things. First of all, it would mean that you don't have to go through this very bureaucratic process, and police to police will be talking like they do and get on. I think the police are the same the world over. They want to solve crimes. They can discuss lines of inquiry, how they're going to approach things, and clearly the British police have got ideas about how they want to take it, but you can't have a British police run an investigation in Portugal. That can't happen. We need them to work together, and I think it would be more effective. There's no doubt about it.
Certainly be more streamlined and definitely speedier, and I think there's much more chance that progress will be made.
Okay, and finally, there's been this report and with the seventh year going about how you can ask for a death certificate, but I suppose you're not asking for it.
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, I don't think any parent would accept that their child's dead until there's clear proof, irrevocable evidence to prove that. I mean, anything could have happened to Madeleine, and there have been, you know, lots and lots of cases over the last few years of children and young women being found after being missing for very many years. So we want to get to the bottom of it and solve the crime. We don't know if Madeleine's alive or dead, but obviously we hope that she is.